What if I told you the most powerful thing you'll hear today isn't a speech, but a reminder from legends, leaders, and life itself? This isn't just about motivation. It's about unlocking the wisdom already inside you. So, whether you're chasing a dream, surviving a storm, or just searching for a reason to keep going, this is for you. Let's journey through the words that move nations, inspire generations, and transform ordinary moments into defining breakthroughs. Here's something else. As you look at yourself, look at your goals, and look at the things that you want to do. Put yourself out there. When I decided that I wanted to speak, I didn't want to just be a speaker. My goal was to be a dominant speaker in my niche. You've decided you want to be a category king or queen. You didn't just want to be one of the players. You wanted to be the player, and that's why you're here. Iron sharpening iron. That's why you're here, learning some stuff that you don't know right now, that will allow you to provide a quality of service for your customers and an experience so that when they leave there, they feel better about themselves. You're getting them in alignment with their vision of themselves and their body. They leave there feeling better about themselves, but talking about you, because of the experience and because of the relationship. That's very important during this time in the distraction economy. What do I mean by that? We're so distracted. So much stuff's happening right now. In many situations, you can't even hear yourself speak. And here's something else. And I've got something I want to send you. This is very important, the master key. When I'm looking at my life and I'm asking myself, how did I get here? Look for ways in which you can upgrade your communication. Steve Jobs said your ability to communicate. He said the storyteller is the most powerful person in the world. I want you to send me. I'm going to give you something. It's called 7 Principles of Storytelling, and it's very important because you have to tell the story about your business. You have to tell the story about yourself and your ability to tell your story. It's everything today. In this noisy world where we are, you have to be good at telling the story about yourself and about your practice, and being in alignment with where people are finding out how you can communicate with them in a way that they can hear you. One of the things about your industry, and most industries, that a lot of people don't know, it's an ongoing process of educating people with a story that creates the thirst. People say you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. No, but if you know how to tell a good story, you can create a thirst where they want to drink. I remember when I ran for state representative, I had been fired from radio, and people who would ordinarily support me when I was on the microphone said, "Les, we love you. But man, you lost the microphone editorializing about all these controversial things. We can't support you, man. You don't have a chance of winning. You don't have any experience, and you don't have any money to fight the party. All the media is supporting your opponent." But they missed one thing. I had a story. When I was on air as a disc jockey, I used to talk about my mother. And when I went to the radio station, my opponent had over $40,000 because his brother was the head of the treasury for the AFL-CIO. He had the money and the influence to get more contributors to his campaign than me. I was a novice. This was my first time in the game. I remember a friend who was trying to talk me into running for office. I said, "Man, I can't do that. I don't know anything about politics." And Perkins said, "Neither do the people who run." So he went and got some petitions signed and said, "Man, you should run. People love you." Here I am on the Friday before the election. It was going to be on Tuesday, and I came to the station. I had around $640. He said, "What are you going to do with that?" I said, "I'm not sure." And then I got still and I thought. I said, "Can I go in the control room?" I used to do commercials. He said, yeah. I called my mother because I used to talk about my mama all the time on radio, and I said, Mama, I need you to say something for me. I'm running for state representative. She said, Leslie, what kind of mess are you in now? I heard because of your big mouth they fired you. I said, Mama, I just need you to say something for me. She said, I ain't got time for this mess, boy. I said, Mama, I'll send you $500. I did Western Union. She said, okay, you better send me my damn money. I said, okay, Mama, I'm going to record you, but you don't have to talk long. And I played a song by Aretha Franklin called Holy, 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 Come Together People, and then I had her say something. She said, hello, this is Mrs. Mamie Brown. When I raised my boys to be good boys, and when they got out of hand, I beat their behinds. Please vote for my son. He's a good boy. John Glenn called me, Senator John Glenn. He said, man, you call your mama or this dude, you're going to win this. And I did. I got 26-0, 0 votes to his 3-0, 0 votes. People said when they went in there to vote, I'm voting for Les Brown because his mama said he's a good boy. So, being able to tell your story, now to be so good at it that you can't be ignored, to attract more customers, to get referrals, to create the kind of experience that people trust you, believe in you, feel a connection with you. Because no matter what you're doing and who you're talking to, when you go out in your community and speak to people, they're asking 3 questions. Who are you? What do you have? And why should I care? And so, when you know how to tell your story, oh, the possibilities of what you can do and the impact that you can make, and the reputation that you develop, where people seek you out and the word goes out, it's major. It's major. So I'd like to leave this week, and I'm open for questions. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and sleep for it. If all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it, and fret for it, and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength, and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold, poverty, famish, or gold, sickness of pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want. If dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God you'll get it. One of the things about you, Les, is that your life is such an example of what's possible. I mean, everybody. I want you just picturing this about this beautiful man. He's born, his mother ends up giving him up for adoption, he and his brother live in these conditions, he's 10 years old, his mother has to go away for a while, he's got to support the family, he's had all these incidents he's had to observe up close. There are other ones with his mother when she's cleaning houses, and this woman claps her hands because she's got to know when his mother's in her room, because she's going to steal something, which his mother would never do. This man goes on to influence millions, literally millions, of people's lives, and this is what's great about all of us making our dreams come true. When you make your dreams come true, the dreams of other people, and dreams you can't even picture, also come true. Because then he influences this goofy dude, me 20-some years old, working at an orphanage, and it inspires me to change my life. So it's just, your life is such an example, and what's interesting to me, Les, is it was mainly tied to your mom. Meaning, you wanted to do something great for your mother all your life. And that was bigger, I think, than any obstacle that got in your way. I'd like you to share this with people, because I think most people don't understand the power of having something big you're going after that means more to you than the pain you're going to have to go through in order to get it. I don't think enough people set huge, big goals that are from the heart. Don't you agree? Yes, you said that. I was listening to you last night. You know, Dexter Yager, as you know from Amway, said, if the dream is big enough, the odds don't matter. And so when you say dream big, that's major. 1. There's power in pursuit. Because as Jim Rohn said, it's not the accomplishment of the goal that matters. It's what you become in pursuit of the dream in the process. Because when you have a big dream, it will introduce you to a part of yourself that you don't know right now, that you will never discover in your comfort zone. Because in order to achieve that dream, you've got to die to who you are now. I must die daily. You must die to who you are now to give birth to who you ought to become. I believe that all of us have stories of greatness in us, and follow me as I say this down. We all have stories of greatness within us. In the beginning was the Word. Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto you. When shall the kingdom of God come? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. When shall it come? The kingdom of God cometh not by observation. They shall say, it's neither lo here nor lo there. Behold, the kingdom of God is within you, and that kingdom is voice-activated. So when you speak, people who are in a dark place, you will bring them out into the light. When you speak, somebody's got a gun to their head. When you speak, they'll realize life is God's gift to me, and how I live my life is my gift to God. When you speak, someone who's depressed and feeling anxious will remember, be anxious for nothing. I'll keep thee in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. So that's the power that you bring, and all the products that you have on you too, by mean, how ironic. They said coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. I've been so marinated listening to your stuff, and then you've been listening to me. Come on, look at God, what a mighty God we serve. Come on, you can't make this stuff up. It's my honor to think that you're listening to my stuff. I've got to tell you, you guys, you know, you just get what I told you all, you just have this treasure. It's like you never want to stop hearing from Les. He's just remarkable, and the way you pull things and download them from all these places, it's just mind-blowing. I wish I were that great. You are the messenger, and you are the message. That's me. You got people whose speaking out here has been hijacked with speaking to sell. We sell people on their greatness. We sell people on the things that they need to do now, the methods, the techniques, the strategies to create the next greatest version of themselves. And when we do that, we know that when we make that kind of impact, we're in the place of what Leo Tolstoy, the Russian author, said, "What is the meaning and purpose of my life that will not be undone and destroyed when I'm gone?" And the people that listen to your program, and their mind and vision has been expanded, you give them a vision of themselves beyond the adversities of what they're experiencing in this place where we are right now, and help them to begin to live their life from a place of optimism that they're going to impact other people, and those people are going to impact other people, and this work, as much as you have chosen this, you were chosen for this. And this work will not be undone. You're going to impact generations yet unborn, those seeds to nourish and bear fruit. Right, we give up a little bit too early. Any thoughts on that? Well, there are some things that you're pursuing. I see that we grow from people and from projects. I'll be a better person at the end of this program because of our communication. We grow from people and projects, and so when we have projects, they challenge us. Why? Because we always, if we want to grow and we're serious, choose projects that are beyond our comfort zone. Because in order to do something you've never done, you've got to become someone you've never been. That's true, so there are experiences that you want to have in the process. Some things will happen to you, and some things will happen for you. And so, I believe that those things that happen for us that sometimes we're aware of, but most of the time we're not. This is what psychologists call your scotomas, your blind spots. A lady, she's an intuitive, and she wrote me a note when she found out that I was a 27-year cancer conqueror, and she says, "This is not unto death to you." She said, "Search your heart and find out what's there." And she was one of the people that gave me a book years ago that I read called Who's the Matter with Me? And when I realized, TJ, and this is the first time I ever talked about this publicly, that somewhere in me that I had not consciously recognized, I had anger at my birth mother and father. How can you bring someone in this world who didn't choose to be here and walk away? And even though we are told, forgetting those things which are behind, reaching forth unto those things which are before, I woke up in the middle of the night. Sometimes you can get a message from a movie, right? And it was a movie with Tom Cruise called Magnolia, and I never saw the whole movie, but there was a quote that woke me up around 3:15, I'll never forget. And the quote was, "We might be through with our past, but our past is not through with us." And so I had unresolved stuff in me, because for a period of time I saw myself as having been given away. But there's been a shift in my consciousness now. I look at my life and I realize I was chosen with love, that God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. And that's why I know now, and I've come to grips with it. I had to get some help, and I believe, ask for help not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. Ask for help, and don't stop until you get it. And I said, you say, if this is not unto death for me, search my heart. And I said, can you help me go there? And she did, because sometimes somebody can take you to a place within yourself that you can't go by yourself. And in that session, I realized the anger and the hatred that I had for two people that I don't even have faces for. I've never seen my birth mother or birth father, and so I had to resolve that. I had to forgive myself first, and then forgive them. And that's when the healing takes place, because cancer is cells gone crazy. And so now, as I move to a place of love, God is love, and he who dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in them. As I move to a place of love for them, now I'm in harmony and in integrity with who I am as a person. And I have forgiven myself, I've forgiven them, and I'm living this mission of making the world a better place than how I found it, of being a source of light and hope and inspiration for people. You're doing an awesome job. There is no long-term benefit for being a grudge holder, holding resentment toward people. I always tell people say, well, do things bug you? Well, things bug me, but listen, I don't live there. And I always tell people I let things roll off my back. You can criticize me all day long, and you know what? I'm not going to internalize that, because I know who I am and I'm thankful for who I am. Anyway, yes, and that is real, because the stuff we take on. They said hating someone is like drinking poison and saying, okay, now you're going to die. No, it's not going to happen like that. Yes, we all need coaching on how to let some things go. One of the things that I teach is, let go or be dragged. There are certain things that you know that you need to let go of. Otherwise, it's going to compromise your power, and it's going to drag you down. And it takes time to do that. It does. So in your book, I remember this story. Yes, such a great book. Anyway, you walked in, I think it was to a junior high or an elementary school, and you said, "There's greatness in this room. If you're here, would you please stand?" Yes. And you had to say it over and over, and then one young person, didn't they stand up and they said, "Here I am, here I am." And that young man, I'm working with him today. Oh, you're kidding. No, he's been with me since that time. He is an attorney, and he also works with youth. We go to prisons and juvenile detention centers together. Yes, and he's truly manifesting his greatness. And I'm proud to say I'm one of his mentees, because it's a seesaw relationship. At first, I started out being his mentor, but he has incredible skills with the millennials and with technology that I don't have. And so he's teaching me how to connect with them and how to use technology to further the work that I'm doing and to create non-performance income. So, this thing called life, I believe that you're never too old to learn, and you're never too young to teach. And he's teaching me, and I'm proud of it. That's awesome. This is fantastic. You know, I think if I was listening to both of you, I would be that one person in the entire auditorium standing on my feet, giving you a standing ovation even before the speech is over. But you know, both of you are talking about something that is so vitally important, and that is the whole idea of greatness. Let's talk about the process of greatness. So what hurdles did you overcome to get where you are today? Can I ask that again? What hurdles did you overcome to get where you are today? And we're talking about the process of greatness. The biggest hurdle was the environment. To look around the community where I was born and raised, and to have a vision of something beyond there, and not having other children in my age category that had that kind of vision and that kind of dream. Wanting to travel and see the world, that was something that I was inspired to do when I looked at television and I saw I Love Lucy and the Jackie Gleason Show and all those television programs. I wanted to travel around the world and see things, which I'm doing now, which I exposed my kids to. And they travel. Only 15% of the population ever travels globally, but to remind myself that this is not my rightful place, that I'm not supposed to be poor, and that I'm going to buy my mother a home, and I'm gonna get her out of here. A man, my mother raised us, she said. A man provides and protects. I'm old school. I don't believe that a woman should work and pay bills. A man should provide and protect. If she wants to work, that's good. But whatever money you earn, you keep that for yourself. But a man pays the bills. That's the era that I came up in, and provide and protect his family. And so when I turned 18, I sat my mother down and said, "You'll never have to work again." And I took care of her until she was 89 when she made her transition. And so, having the mindset that I am more than a conqueror, not just in lip service, but in how I live my life, that I can control my own personal economy, I can develop the skill set that will allow me to create multiple streams of income and to be my own boss. I will never forget when I quit a job and everybody asked me, "Where are you going?" I said, "I have no idea, but I'm going away from here." You know, sometimes you have to leap and grow your wings on the way down. I say, give yourself a going away party. Yes, that's right. I did that for a CBS station in L.A. I had a big luncheon for them, and they said, "What's the occasion?" I said, "I'm going in another direction." They said, "You are kidding. You're earning over 6 figures for 3 hours on the air. Why are you leaving?" I said, "I told you I wanted to do the radio program at home. You said you want to keep me here and have me under your thumb." I said, "I'm not an under your thumb kind of dude. I'm taking myself away from here so I can control my own future. I don't want to give you that kind of power over me." Wow. Taking back your personal power. Yes, absolutely. You want to be able to develop yourself so you have away money, so that you can walk away if the environment does not suit you. You can walk away if you're not earning enough. You can walk away because you know that you can create it again, that you know that you have the ability. You've been given authority and dominion over everything in the face of the earth, including your finances, to create a life that you love and that you're excited about. Helen Keller said, "Life is either a daring adventure or it's boring. And so I live an exciting life. It's great to be me. Yeah, I love that. You know, move away from people that further entrench you into possibility blindness. Move away from a culture and people, and then take back your personal power. I mean, that's so practical. If you've given it away, that means that you have the power to take it back. Take it back and give yourself permission to succeed." The conversation we're having right now, people don't get this often. They don't. No, you have always marched to the beat of a different drummer. Thoreau said, if a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps he's listening to the beat of a different drummer. Let him march to the music that he hears, however measured or far apart. You march to the beat of a different drummer. And that's why, as a leader, you impact and then you influence people, because you inspire them through your example to raise the bar on themselves. Yes, that's really, really good. That's really, really good. I want to throw out another question. What hurdles will the average person have to overcome? Well, I think that the hurdles that the average person will have to overcome, and the biggest hurdle that I had to overcome, is one and the same. And that is to be coachable. Yes, I know you're shocked right now. I am shocked. You're shocked right now. Nor Honda, Toyota. The world is filled with know-it, alls who accomplish very little. And the toughest thing that it is, and I understand it, is to take yourself out of the driver's seat and be led by somebody who's achieved greater results than you. I can't believe I'm here. Okay, you know, after a while it sinks in, right? Yes. So we often have bright ideas. We have different projects that we're passionate about. But unless you have some strong leadership and a coach who can guide you through some things that you might not have seen or been able to anticipate, then you're not going to make it as far as you could. Many people are struggling as solopreneurs because they don't realize the power of teamwork. I'm blessed because I don't just have a dad, a great parent. I'm a part of a great team. And because of the coaching that I received from him at an early age I followed his directions. I believe you're never too old to learn, and you're never too young to teach. One of the quotes that I love, my all-time favorite, it might be yours too. As a little kid, my Brown's baby boy, he said, "Shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars." And when I thought about the different challenges that youth are facing today, fighting each other in different arenas, I thought, what if we taught people how to shoot for the moon instead of at each other with that quote? So I said, shoot for the moon, 'cause even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. The time is coming soon. Instead of busting shots at my brothers and sisters, shoot for the moon, 'cause even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. The time is coming soon. If you don't raise the bar, you'll end up behind the bars. So let's get this quote competition started off with a John Leslie Brown original. If you don't raise the bar, you'll end up behind the bars. Okay, here's a Les Brown original. If life knocks you down, try and land on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. That's not fighting fair. But what that does tell me is another John Leslie Brown original. Failure begins when effort ends. Here's a less fun original. Visualization without the willingness to do the work ends up in mental illness and disappointment. So what you're trying to tell me, as I think about another John Leslie Brown original, is, when you stop trying, you start dying. Les Brown original: always strive to get on top in life, because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. Oh, we shifted, we're talking about the crowd now. Well, that takes me to another one that I've read. I believe it's by Bishop Jakes. He said, true superiority is not gained by being better than someone else. It's gained by being better than your previous self. Here's another Bishop D. Jakes quote: success without successors is failure. And as a successor from this great Brown dynasty, and as a child of Mr. Objects as well, I have to remember the quote when he said, the amount of pain that you've been through is a direct measurement of the amount of power that will be released in your life. Here's another Bishop D. Jakes quote: don't let your talent take you where your character can't keep you. Okay, well, I have to switch it up then. You got me sweating? I'm switching from Bishop X to Jim Rohn now, because Jim Rohn said, your life, my life, the lives of each and every one of us will serve as either a warning or an example. Jim Rohn also said, when the end comes for you, let it find you conquering a new mountain, not sliding down an old one. Oh, okay, if you're going to use Jim Rohn's quote, then let me trump you with some Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin said, blessed are those that seek nothing, for they shall never be disappointed. Well, we're talking about Benjamin. Let's use a Jamaican quote. If you save your money will save you. Oh, okay, perspiration is really pouring now, and it's not the lights. It's the heat. It's the challenge. Yes, go ahead. Yes, that's very true, especially when we talk about saving something, because Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, until a man has found something that he's willing to die for, then he isn't fit to live. Save that. Dr. Martin Luther King's mentor, Dr. Howard Thurman, said, there's something in each and every one of you that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. And if you cannot hear it, all of your life will be spent on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. Oh, you pulling my strings, you pulling my strings. Okay, it's only one person that I can come back with that. And I'm going to have to go right here. Les Brown said, there's greatness within you. And I am not ready. I cannot hang with the master motivator. But it's not just about the words. Let's go into what some of these words mean. Yes, I most certainly will, but would you, wipe your face? This perspiration is distracting to my greatness. Thank you. You know, a young broom sweeps clean, but old brooms know where to go. But a young broom can Google a housekeeper, so you know, sweep no more. What are you talking about? I got it. I missed that one. I'm a little slow. I got it. All right, okay. So let me give you a quote, and then let me hear your spin on it. Don't make someone a priority who's made you an option. Let me repeat that. Don't make someone a priority who's made you an option. To me, that means know your worth. We live in a society where we've got more tools to stay connected, but especially if you're a high achiever, if you're a leader, sometimes it can be lonely. You said it yourself. They say it's lonely at the top, but you eat better. And the reason why it's lonely at the top is because when you value yourself, when you know what you deserve, when you spend your time and energy developing new relationships, working on your mind, developing new ideas that can build your business, you've got to surround yourself with something that a great man by the name of Les Brown calls only quality people. Don't dilute your value because you want the approval of somebody else. Self-approval is the first step in the 4 stages of greatness. Am I correct about that? No, it's self-awareness and then self-approval. But that answer you gave was profound. But it was the answer to another question, not the question that I asked. When you say don't make someone a priority who's made you an option, what you're saying is, there are some people in your life that they're always there when they need you, but when you need them, they're nowhere to be found. So when you are going to invest your time, your energy and resources, make sure you do it for relationships that you can count on. You know, one of the things that you said, when you look at your life and look at your goals and dreams, who should you count on and who should you count out? And when I spoke, I told audiences to ask that question, but the statement that takes it a step further, that is answering who you should count out. You should count out the people that you know you can't count on. Wow, that's phenomenal. Are you feeling it? I'm feeling that you're about to break out in another sweat. I am. Well, tell me about this. I've heard this quote. I believe it's from Whitney Young. He said, "It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared." What does that mean to you? That, to me, means life is about advanced preparation. You know, there's a saying, no prior planning brings about a pretty poor performance. And so people should prepare themselves. They need to ask the what-if question. What if I lost my job? What if I lost my voice? What if I could not physically perform the work that I used to perform? What's my backup strategy? We want to ask those questions in advance, but also have strategies that can support our household, our standard of living, our family and friends. Because it's better to have money and not need it than to need it and not have it. Wow, that's so powerful. While you were speaking, it made me think of a series I heard from Brian Tracy. Guess what it was called? Eat That Frog. I remember that frog. You remember eating that frog. I thought it was unusual and different. That's why I looked at it. Yes, an attention grabber. So what did you get out of it? The thing that I took that was most valuable for me was when he talked about the quink moment. The quink is knowing what I now know. See, when you have advanced preparation, you make sure you don't have an opportunity where you look back and say, "Oh, if I could do that over, I would have had a business plan. If I could do that over, I would have had a business card. If I could do that over, I would have been ready for my destiny." And knowing what I now know, I'm excited to have the opportunity to learn from you. Well, thank you. So, out of all of the quotes that you have heard, what's one of the things that you heard as a child that grabbed you, that stayed with you still to this day? A question was asked by a very brilliant man who, at the time, was in his 90s, and this stayed with me to this day. The question was, if you had it in your power to be anyone throughout history, who would you be? And he said, "I'd like to become the man I never was." And that, to me, said that as he looked at himself, he realized, even though he was 92 and he had accomplished a great deal in life and was admired the world over, that there was still more in him that he had not expressed. And he wondered whether or not he would have a chance to do that before he left. To me, that is about challenging yourself, about growing, about knowing. As Dr. Schuller said, you can always better your best. When I think about that, it reminds me being in Miami, Florida, in Ona's condo, my sister Ona, and your book was sitting there on the table, Live Your Dreams. You published that book when I was about 10 years old, and I wasn't reading books that size then. But something said, how is it that my dad is a best-selling author, helps people achieve greatness, and I haven't read the book? I said, hey, should I read it, or do I already know? Well, guess what? I opened that book, and the page that I turned to said, Everybody's born unique, but most of us die copies. I closed the book. I said, oh, I got to read this. I got to read this. I think we have to. In order to express your unique energy signature, as you would call it, in order to express your unique talent or gift, you have to constantly update your mental software. I like that. This is just a little taste. We're going to be doing some more in the future, but I'm beginning to perspire myself. Round one goes to Manny. Brown's baby boy. I'm going to get ready. You did pretty good. I think you did pretty good. I'm very proud of you. Every quote you've just heard isn't meant to just sit in your memory. It's meant to wake up your purpose. Remember, you weren't born to blend in. You were born to stand out, to rise above, and to become the version of you the world hasn't met yet. So ask yourself, knowing what you now know, what will you do differently today? Because greatness doesn't come from chance. It comes from choice, and your time to choose, to rise, is right now.